The old Scoot here, coming at you with another exciting video, doing a little gardening project today. Yes, we do that on this channel as well. That's why it's a good reason to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Anyways, you get the idea. I like the blue Miracle Grow, right? It's a little denser and heavier than the yellow version, let's say. What this is designed to do is keep the moisture in the soil for longer so that you don't have to water as often. And then to emphasize that, to add to that effect, I'm adding some Cocoa Bliss, which is basically coconut coir. If you think of a round coconut, the whole exterior shell is basically this fibrous material, and that's what Cocoa Bliss is, or Cocoa Coir is. Usually it comes dried in these blocks. I'll put a link down in the description below so you can check it out on your own time or whatever, and do some more research for your own. But basically what this is it expands to about 3 times its size, like its dried out state. So what you do is you get a fair amount. Like in relation to the pot, I'm gonna be mixing these two together so there's even distribution, so that the water doesn't just go straight to the bottom. It actually holds for longer in the middle of the pot or wherever you think you might need it. So in my case, what I'm gonna do is, I figured I'm going to need a disc, right? If we're talking about a circular pot, I'm going to need a disc that's about that big, which is about 3 inches thick. This pot almost was an adventure to try to find, because I've been looking for pots that are resin and that are 1/2 inch thick or bigger in thickness without costing an arm and a leg. So this particular pot was around like 20 to 25 bucks, which is not bad considering there are some resin pots that are about the same quality, maybe a little bit better, but they're upwards of like 60, 90, $100. So to find one that was rock solid, felt like it was good resin material for between 20 and 25 bucks was a miracle. I will put a link down there below in the description, by the way. So 1/2 inch thick, right? Resin pot. It's about 16 inches in diameter and about 13 inches tall, give or take. So by mixing the potting mix and the coconut coir, I want to try to fill this pot to maybe about like 2/3 of the way, I'd say, just so I have enough room there and enough air gap to do whatever else I have to do. And, I don't want to fill the entire pot. But with that being said, I figured I need about, I'd say in volume, like, let's say this is 10 inches across by, let's say 8 inches this way, and about 5 or 6 inches deep. So considering this amount that I needed, I figured 1/3 of that, right? Because this will expand to 3 times its size. So figuring that, I figured I need 1/3 of this volume. I basically just guesstimated and cut out a chunk about this big, which is give or take around 2.5 inches tall, around, I'd say 3.5 inches wide, maybe 4 inches wide, and about 5 inches this way, give or take 5 or 6 inches this way. So sawed this out with a nice saw. Don't use a knife because your knife's going to go all over the place. You might cut yourself, but just use a regular saw. Wear some safety gloves, a mask, like something like a K95 mask so that we can breathe. And then also wear goggles too, because stuff will fly everywhere. Hand saw, not electric, just hand saw. It actually cuts through pretty good. It'll actually fall apart if you pull on it, like, if you give it enough time. Like this chunk is just breaking off right here, as you can see. But anyways, once you put it in a bucket, just fill up the bucket with about a little less than 2/3 water, add your block, and it will just expand. And then after, it goes pretty quickly. After maybe, let's say about a minute, you can go in there and then break it apart, as you can see here. So when you finally do break it apart, this is the texture that you get. It's basically coconut fiber, right? Oak Island. Are we watching that show? It's basically coconut fiber that has been pulverized and then rehydrated, or it's been rehydrated. Anyways, you get the idea. So what I'm going to do is, in this same bucket, I'm going to mix some potting mix to kind of have like a 50-50 ratio to begin with. I'm going to transfer all this into the bigger pot and then eventually add more potting mix, just stirring as I go with my hand and then trying to get a good distribution. The rope, very important. So the cotton rope in here is actually going to be a little bit of a siphoning device to keep moisture from the bottom of the pot all the way to the top of the pot. And what I'll do is, as I start filling it up with soil, I'm going to just try to keep this as centered as I can and try to keep this somewhere around that same level that I was trying to reach. So if I'm going to fill up the pot about 2/3, I'd say the rope will be somewhere around here, and it'll probably be somewhere in the center or off center away from the main stem of the plant that I'm going to put in here. But I want the root system to kind of maybe grow into this and eventually fuse into this. And the whole reason for this is that basically as I water the plant and the water does start to dissipate and sink down into the bottom of the pot, it's going to climb back up this cotton rope here and basically keep hydration throughout the whole center cylinder or center column of the pot, if that makes any sense. So it'll look like this when it's all said and done, give or take. And basically just redistributing the water, if that makes any sense. Anyways, with that being said, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what you're seeing. These are tried and true tested products. This channel is all about trying to find the highest quality at the lowest prices, the best bang for the buck. Like I said, it was a miracle finding this resin pot that was a 1/2 inch thick, that's durable, that's solid. It's going to be out in direct sunlight in the backyard all day, every day, every single season. It's just going to sit out there. So I'm hoping to get at least, I'd say, between 5 to 10 years out of this. I'd be happy if it goes even longer, even more happier. Probably closer to 10 years, maybe even 15 years. I mean, it's a pretty good, well-built resin. And the whole point of this channel, like I was mentioning, was to try to find highest quality, lowest prices, best bang for the buck, tried and true tested products. So this pot, the potting mix, this is what I usually like and I use. The Cocoa Bliss was the best bang for the buck price that I could find to try to get the highest quality coconut coir or that coconut fiber at the lowest possible price, right? Best bang for the buck. And it works wonders. So when you mix your coconut fiber with this potting soil and get a good, nice, even distribution, I would say I'm going to be somewhere around 1/3 coconut coir, 2/3 potting mix as the final ratio. That to me will give me good hydration from the bottom of the pot all the way up to where I fill it to for a longer period of time. So it'll retain the moisture in the middle zone and also the higher zones for longer, so you don't have to water as often. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Anyways, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, wherever that is. Hit the description section if you want some links to some pretty cool products, including all of this stuff. And you can always make a comment or post a comment, and you never know, your comment may turn into a future video someday. So anyways, the old coot, hope you have an awesome day, and I will catch you all in the next exciting video.